to TWF Rampage or Ram Crew. I am Jim Ross, here with Tony Schiavone and with Taz. And today on Rampage or Ram Crew, we're going to see Sheamus O'Shaughnessy fight Sean Chi fight King Kong fight Keith Lee. And whoever wins has the right to take on Dennis Rodman for the TWF Allegheny Earldom winnings, Jim Ross says. You're right, Jim Ross. We're gonna see Ton Chi and Sheamus O'Shaughnessy and Keith Lee and King Kong here. Each one of these men has a hang up with the guessing day of being Finn Balor, Aleister Black, Dennis Rodman, Rhea Ripley, Jim Ross says. Tony Schiavone says. I can tell you one thing, Jim Ross, or one thing, Tony Schiavone. There ain't no way that none of these men are going to beat the guessing day. We've seen what happen anytime they fight the guessing day. Taz said it never ends well for them. Here's Sean Chi in the ring. Taz says, about to get his booty rear beat. Well, Jim Ross said, and here comes King Kong now. And now here comes Keith Lee on the other side, Jim Ross says. Well, Tony Schiavone said all these men have a hang-up with the guessing day. And all these men would like to be the ones to take the TWF Allegheny Earldom winnings off of Dennis Rodman, Jim Ross says. Yes, they do, Tony Schiavone said. You're right, Jim Ross. They would love to take those winnings off of him. They like to take those winnings that he has and take it off him. Tony Schiavone said, well, I'll tell you what, Taz said, good luck with that happening or not. Ding. And Sean Chi going right after King Kong and knocked him down with his staff. Jim Ross says. And look, Sheamus O'Shaughnessy with the brogue kick, and down goes Keith Lee. Jim Ross says. Now, we want to know, Jim Ross said, will Chung Chi and Sheamus O'Shaughnessy go at it again, Jim Ross says. Well, I would think they would, Tony Schiavone said. If we saw what happened on the Monday Night Raw, or Monday Night Raw, the first one I called, you saw what happened there. Oh, Chung Chi just knocked down Sheamus O'Shaughnessy with his staff. He knocked down King Kong, and he knocked down Keith Lee with it. Chung Chi might be the man who will become the right to go for the TWF Allegheny Earldom winnings, Tony Schiavone says. Well, that could be true, Jim Ross says, but King Kong's getting back up now. We can't track him out. Well, Taz said, I'll tell you what, Dennis Rodman said he didn't care. Guessing day already laid out Hulk Hogan and Four and the Hulk, and soon they'll lay out King Kong, Keith Lee, and Sean Chi and Sheamus O'Shaughnessy. Taz says, so really don't care. And now King Kong getting back into this thing, Taz says. Well, they might not care. Well, I'll tell you what, Taz. Dennis Rodman needs to care who he's wrestling, who he's fighting, because one of these men could be the one to take his winnings off of him. And for you needing to know, Jim Ross says, Finn Balor, Aleister Black, Dennis Rodman, Rhea Ripley don't have full run and lead over anything around here. Keith Lee just body slammed King Kong, Jim Ross says. Well, no, they don't, Tony Schiavone said. They might think they got run and lead over everything, but they truly don't. And Sheamus O'Shaughnessy just took down Sean Chi. And we'll see what happens there. 1, 2. And this time King Kong just nailed out Sheamus O'Shaughnessy. And oh, Keith Lee just threw out King Kong. And now Chung Chi, Jim Ross said, with that staff. Well, with that staff to Keith Lee, Jim Ross said. Tony Schiavone said, will Chung Chi be the one to go to fight Dennis Rodman and become the right to fight Dennis Rodman for the TWF Allegheny Earldom winnings? That's unlawful, Taz says. That staff, that stick, whatever it is, it's unlawful. 1, 2, 3. Ding ding ding. Here is your winner. Here is your winner. Shang-Chi. And now Shang-Chi has the right to take on Dennis Rodman for the TWF Allegheny Earldom winnings, Jim Ross says. I mean, he went through Sheamus O'Shaughnessy, went through Keith Lee, went through King Kong, Jim Ross says. Yes, he did, Tony Schiavone says, Jim Ross. He did go through Sheamus O'Shaughnessy, Keith Lee, and King Kong to win the right to fight Dennis Rodman for the TWF Allegheny Earldom winnings. And one other thing, Tony Schiavone, we got to bring up, Jim Ross, is that the guessing day never goes alone. So you know that Finn Balor, Aleister Black, Dennis Rodman, and Rhea Ripley are going to be ready to do what they're going to do. Well, Taz says Shang-Chi's going to be laid out the same way Hulk Hogan and Thor and Hulk were, the same way that King Kong, Keith Lee, and Shang-Chi and Sheamus O'Shaughnessy will, Taz says. Well, Shang-Chi Shang-Chi in the ring now. Alright, Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi, however you say your name. He just won the right to fade Dennis Rodman for the TWF Allegheny Earldom winnings. Yes, I did. And I went through 3 great wrestlers, 3 great fighters. King Kong, Sheamus O'Shaughnessy, and Keith Lee. Now, I do know that the guessing day did put out Hulk Hogan and Thor, the God of Thunder, and the Hulk. And they hoping to put Keith Lee, King Kong, Sheamus O'Shaughnessy, and myself out, but I don't think that's going to happen. You see, the guessing day, Finn Balor, Aleister Black, Dennis Rodman, and Rhea Ripley seem to have this belief going that they got running lead over every single thing that goes on in the TWF. It's bullshit, but in their mind, that's what they believe. And they believe sooner or later, everything is going to shift up their way. But I'm here to tell you, that's not going to happen. So, sooner or later, King Kong, Sheamus O'Shaughnessy, Shang-Chi, myself, Shang-Chi, we're all going to take out the guessing day. Sooner or later, Hulk Hogan, Thor, and the Hulk will be back. And when that happens, well, the guessing day, Finn Balor, Aleister Black, Dennis Rodman, and Rhea Ripley won't have a leg to stand on or a foot to walk on. Well, Shang-Chi, we do know that you are a Disney Marvel self, and we do know that you've only been in the TWF for a full week, and your first match was with Sheamus O'Shaughnessy. You had your match with Finn Balor, so you know all about the guessing day. The guessing day, they're just like the NWO, like DX, like the New Blood, the New Breed, just like the Nexus, the Ace and Aids, Retribution, whatever, Uprising, whatever you want to call them, the Judgment Day, whatever. The guessing day is just like them. All like those teams. They want to beat the shit out of you, take your steads. They want to have running lead over every single thing that happens, but they don't. And at the end of the day, you will be looking at the new TWF Allegheny Earldom fighter. And sooner or later, the guessing day, or whatever they want to call themselves, are going to be gone. Alright, that's my talk with Shang-Chi. Back to you, Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone. Well, thank you, Michael Cole, for talking with Shang-Chi here today. Thank you for talking with Shang-Chi here today on Rampage, or Ram-Through. And it is all the time we got here for Rampage, or Ram-Through. I am Jim Ross for Tony Schiavone and Taz. We hope you like Rampage, or Ram-Through. And we'll see you tomorrow for Power or Might.